oh, wait, like I can magically just like a couple $100 can show up. Yeah. It's about believing in it again. It's about remembering when you woke up on Christmas Eve.
Hello, hello, my love. Welcome back to Arouse for another episode. And if you're new around here, welcome. I am your host and personal life coach, Samantha Pop. In today's episode, we are in part 2 of Amanda King's interview from my 2020 virtual summit of the Women's Confidence Summit. Before we dive into part 2, make sure to hit that follow or subscribe button and make sure that your notifications are on for every new episode that comes out every week. Let's dive in. Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, of course. And I think if you don't have hope, that's a time that you really need to work on your mindset in general, because it's like you are going to be okay and you need to work on those like limiting beliefs that it's not going to be okay. Cause it's like, girl, you've probably been through like crazy shit. If you piled all that together, then that's like worse than what you're going through now, but you can't see that and you can't see how strong you are and what you've survived through, but they're just focusing on the moment in time right now.
And it's totally understandable why you would do that too, because in that moment, it does feel like an absolute shit sandwich. But I always say to people, like, this moment that feels like your worst moment will be your greatest story in the end. It'll be the story that you tell every single person when you've gotten out of it, when you've hit a level of success, when you've even, if we're not talking about business, even when you get out of it, out of the other side, you climb out of that fucking hole and you turn around and you see all of those people who are still in that hole, because so many people choose to stay in it. So many people are like, fuck this shit. That's too high. I don't want to climb out of it. But you did. You survived it. And so this will be the beginning, the catalyst story for your entire journey after, because you'll always think about this one time and you'll be like, shit was terrible, but I survived. And so many people didn't. And I'm stronger because of this. If you're a coach, this is what becomes your about me page. This is what becomes like the fucking movie theater trailer of your life, is like that pivotal moment. It changes everything. So although it feels like the world is caving in, just know that this will be your best comeback story one day. And you'll look back at this time, and although it doesn't feel like it, you'll smile on it and you'll be like, thank fucking God this happened.
Yes. I love all of that. So Amanda, what advice would you give someone that's struggling with their money story right now?
I will say that, like, may not be the way some people want to hear, but your money beliefs, they're always going to be there. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, if you think that doing personal development and doing all this work is one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, my money beliefs have disappeared and just they're gone. They floated away. It's not going to fucking happen. They will always be there, right? You will feel them when you're making $0 a month, and you will feel them when you're making 10K months. They are always there. So thinking to yourself, and this was a huge thought I had as well, once I hit 100K in my business, I'm not going to have any fucking money triggers. I'm not going to have any problems with money. I'm going to feel so secure and so safe. And that was a bullshit lie I fed myself, because it never goes away. And so it's something that you're constantly going to need to work on, but also you don't need to trudge up a bunch of shit that you don't need to work on. If it's apparent, it will be apparent. It'll be something that is literally screaming in your face, hey, this is your money trigger. You need to work on this. I think a lot of people with their money story decide to dig. I'm like an analogy person today. Like they decide to dig a fucking hole. They're like, oh, I need to figure out my money story. I'm going to go back 18 years of my life and I'm going to dig out every piece of baggage that I have buried, and I'm going to deal with it all at one time. Girl, you will drive yourself motherfucking crazy. You will debilitate and paralyze yourself with inner work. You will never feel ready. You will never feel like you're good enough. You will drown in that bullshit. And it's like, we have to stop feeling like we need to bring it all up to the surface right now. If it's meant to come up, it will scream at you in the face. It'll be like, hey, why? Like, hi, how you doing? Why are you feeling this? It will literally be like a kid who wants your attention, right? A child with my nieces and nephews who is like, hey, what's up? That will be the money story that is what you need to work on. That's what you need to address. And that's where you have to start asking yourself the question, like, why am I feeling this way? When was the first time I was feeling this? When did I started noticing come up? What am I making this event, this trigger mean about me? is this even my limiting belief, right? Because there's a lot of stuff we get from society and generational shit. Like my father always used to say, my nephew said it last night, you got to work hard in order to make money. And I said, says who? Well, that's what my dad says. That's not true. I make money and this is the easiest fucking job in the entire world. I love it. It fuels my soul. It makes me happy. I don't think this is hard work. This is blessed work. I'm blessed to do this every single day of my life. So even when a belief like that comes up with money, like I'm going to have to work 12 hours a fucking day, slaving away at my computer, making sure I post 18 times on fucking Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, TikTok, all of them, and I need to not be able to enjoy my life, that's a belief as well, because it shouldn't be this difficult. It should be easy. It should be fun. And so beliefs like that will start coming up, and that's when you address them, and that's where you ask the tough questions to yourself. What are you gaining from believing this? Because a lot of us have a secondary gain in some of these beliefs that are so deep rooted, we don't even recognize it. So as far as your money story, like what's coming up for you in the moment? Don't feel like you need to work on 18 years of past trauma and past bullshit in this moment. Take it one step at a time so you don't get overwhelmed. And then know that even though you feel that you've addressed it, it'll probably come back up again in 6 months, in 12 months. But the best thing about it is because you've addressed it this one time, it'll be a lot faster to nip in the ass and get rid of. And that's how you know inner work is working. It's not that you never have inner work. You'll always have money triggers. You'll always have inner work. It's the fluidity in which, fluidity, that was a fancy word for me to use, that you move through it and the speed at which you move through it. So when it's all of a sudden, I got to work hard to make money, it's no longer a 3-day process. It's now like, no, I don't. I get to do this because I love it and I get to make a shit ton of money doing it. And you move through it twice as quickly.
Thank you for that reminder for myself and for all the women listening and watching. And I love that you touched on that. It's like, don't go back 18 years of your life and go through everything at once, because I've had other coaches and programs like tell me that. And I'm like, this is so fucking overwhelming. I'm like, how can I deal with every single thing when I only have like 2 things that I'm like really struggling with right now? Like that is great advice, because I like seriously spending all that time going through all those years of like what my parents have said and what society says and like what you adopt as your truth and dealing all that at once, I almost exploded. I was like,
it's exhausting. Yeah, it's exhausting. It's like, how the fuck? It's like you're carrying this huge suitcase with you. And you're like, I need to spend the next 3 days unloading this right now with all dirty, stanky clothes in it. Like it's miserable. It's exhausting. And this is why a lot of people choose not to do inner work, right? Because they're like, fuck it. I don't want to spend the next week of my life in a pit of despair, yearning or crying over something that my dad said to me when I was 17, and it's not really relevant right now, but I feel I need to go through it. It's like trying to find a problem when there isn't one. If there's a problem, it's going to show you there's a problem. It's going to be that obnoxious, like, hey, it's me. And if it's not showing up, don't feel like you need to do more work to get better success. Don't feel like you need to do more or be more. Like you can get enough success right now exactly how you are. We don't have to keep fucking, and it's a coach, I think, a problem with the coaching world is we keep saying like, you need to do more in order to make the next level. You need to do more in order to hit 6 figures to 7 figures, which yeah, we all need to do work, but our entire life shouldn't be spent on doing inner work. What the fuck are we going to do with the rest of our life? Like our time on this planet should be, yes, some inner work, but it also should be fucking celebrating all of the inner work we're doing, celebrating everything that's happening in our life, celebrating everything that's happening in our business. And it should be having fun and experiencing joy. It's like life should be orgasmically satisfying. And if it's not, you're doing something wrong. And you have to take a look at it and be like, am I spending too much time on doing inner work? Because there is too much time, right? You can spend too much time in inner work. If you have a 6-month span, you should be maybe doing inner work over the span of 6 months for maybe like a month. What the fuck are you doing with the other 5 months? This is the time where you should be having fun and enjoying things rather than always trying to fix the problem. There will always be problems. You just have to figure out which one it's the right time to fix.
Exactly. Yeah. Because with like therapy, depending on that, like you have to dig really deep. But in the coaching world, we're like, hey, what are you dealing with right now? Like what's coming up for you? Let's work on that. And we don't really focus on a lot of things in the past, which I think it's a good thing that there's a big difference, because like people, like I struggled with like why I was getting into abusive relationships and healing from that. And yeah, I needed to go through my past with my therapist, but with other things like in my business and with personal issue. Now I was working with my coach. I'm like, hey, I'm dealing with some limiting beliefs. And she's like, okay, well, like, why is this coming up? What were you doing? And we're talking about the present moment. And so they're two different things, but that is easier than being like, okay, you're dealing with this. Oh, let's also add what's happening in your past. No, so overwhelming.
So overwhelming. And then no one moves, right? And then they're like, why am I not moving in any of my business? And it's because they're so overwhelmed with feeling like they need to be more because they have to do more. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, just show the fuck up. Do what you want. If an inner work issue is going to come up, it'll make itself apparent. Focus on that and then keep moving forward. We shouldn't be paralyzed. It's where a lot of like new coaches you will come see and they'll be like, I'm going to fucking crush it. I'm going to do it. And then they start the inner work part. This shit comes up. And then they're like, oh, well, if one thing comes up, I need to write 85 forgiveness letters. I need to journal for 6 hours a morning while drinking my matcha tea, while listening to serene water sounds in the background. It's like, no, you don't. Like, it will come to you when it's meant to come to you. And when it's done, it's over. Move on and like keep on trucking.
Of course. I love that. So Amanda, how can women build their confidence by changing their money mindset?
How can women build their confidence changing their money mindset? I would say just like kind of what we touched upon earlier, becoming confident in the fact that knowing that if you believe the money is going to come, it will come. It's like that old movie, I think Field of Dreams. If you build it, it will come. If you believe that money will come to you in any shape, way, or form, like don't attach any fucking value to it. It's all about manifestation, right? It's like, holy shit, I would love an extra $1,000 by the end of the month. You don't have to be like, okay, it needs to come through this form. It's got to come through my business. It's got to come through like someone paying me back. It's got to come through this form. It's like, no, sitting there and saying to yourself, I want $1,000 by the end of the month because I want it, because I fucking deserve it. And I'm going to let it come any way it is. And then detaching yourself from the outcome completely, because everything will always be okay. You can get more confident with your money mindset when, one, you recognize you're not in this alone, right? We think it's all on our own shoulders, but like, this is why I do believe in a power bigger than myself. And many people do, whether it's God, the universe, source, Gus, fucking spirit, the 90 other names we give it. Like, you're not here to carry this burden alone. You're not here to carry the weight of your world on your shoulders alone. That's what's so beautiful about believing in something bigger than yourself. And so you believe in this bigger being. I believe in the universe. I believe she always has my back. I believe she loves me, wants me to succeed, and she cares for me. So that makes me very confident when money struggles come up, that I'm like, she's good. She's got my back. I need an extra $500 this month. Help me make it happen. And then I truly believe with all my heart, it will happen. And then it does. It randomly starts showing up, whether it's finding a $20 bill on the sidewalk, whether it's someone who, like, I had one time a check for $400 that was owed to me for years ago find its way back to my new house. It just happens that way because you believe in it happening. And it's really like, get confident in believing in magic. When we're younger, we believe in magic, right? We believe in Santa. We believe in the Easter Bunny. We believe in the Tooth Fairy. Got to bring it down because I don't want to upset my nieces and nephews, but we believe in magic, right? And then somewhere along adulthood, we stop believing in it. And then we were like, oh, wait, like I can magically just like a couple $100 can show up. Yeah. It's about believing in it again. It's about remembering when you woke up on Christmas Eve and you were like, oh my God, Santa's coming today. I'm going to have so many presents tomorrow. And that heightened sense of excitement kept you up all night long. Your parents tried to put you to bed at 8 o'clock and you were like, absolutely not. I'm going to sit here on my Game Boy. Yeah, I'm that old. And like play Game Boy all night long. I'm going to, like, my brother and I are going to sneak out. We're going to go downstairs. We're going to look at that Christmas tree. That is just faith. And it's faith in believing in magic and that anything is possible. And that Santa, this mysterious being, knows exactly what you want and is going to give it to you. Is that not the universe? The universe and God and source, is that not exactly what we're doing? We're believing in magic. And so believing in magic again, saying like, you've got my back. Thank you for supporting me. I know you want me to be successful. So I need help. Ask for the help from the universe. Say, I need help. I want to become more confident in my money. I want to be able to pay this bill, and being able to put that intention out into the universe. I like to speak things. I talk to the universe all the time. I don't pray. I have conversations with the universe. And so I say to her, I need help. I'm struggling. Please help me. Like, guide me. If you don't like the word help, like, guide me to make sure that I'm able to do this. And she always does. And it may not be the way I want sometimes, but it always ends up happening. So being confident in magic and having faith in magic again, and that you can literally just want something and you'll will it into your existence. That's the most magical thing in the entire world.
Okay, ladies, this conversation is like so beautiful because, I know some women, like, they're scared of the word magic, and it's like, it's not a bad thing.
It's like, it's like you get such bad like connotation with it, right? It's like black magic. Even when my brother even said something like that, he's like, what are you teaching my niece black magic? And I said, no, it's oracle cards. It's just showing her to connect with her intuition, right? It's just like, it's believing in yourself. That's magical. Because like, even think of it, like, how many people actually fully believe in themselves, fully trust themselves, whether it's their intuition, whether it's their decision making. Not a lot of us do, right? Because we fuck up so much in the past. And so we basically freaking drag our asses over the coals every time we make a decision of, oh my God, no, that was a bad decision before. I don't want to do it, without trusting that we've learned from the decision. And then we learn from it, and then we start trusting it. That's magic. It's not like, that is magic it happening within yourself. So it's not a bad thing. And it's like, don't attach the word magic to like a witch is going to come out and curse your fucking family and you're going to be like barren for 12 centuries. Like, magic is just something that lives inside of you, and it's magical and it's fun. Right? It's bringing back that inner child in yourself that's just like, I believe in this, and so it is.
Oh, I love that. Let's totally reframe the whole word magic for women in this earth, because yes, I totally agree with you. Everyone is like, oh, magic is just associated with like witches and curses and black magic. And it's like, no, you have magic inside of you. And like, you need to let that out. You're doing a huge disservice to yourself to hide the magic that you have inside of you and not living authentic to yourself. And that wraps up Amanda King's Women's Confidence Summit interview. If you love today's episode, make sure to take a screenshot and post it on social media. Let me know your thoughts, or you can leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. You can also send me an email at samanthapopcoaching@gmail.com. I would love to hear your thoughts, and make sure to stay tuned for another episode in the Boost Your Confidence series. I will see you next time.